Malena oven incident. On the morning of October 11, 2012, 62-year-old Jose Malena began his shift at the Bumblebee Foods plant in Santa Fe Springs, California. He had worked there for years and knew the routine. The factory was enormous, filled with forklifts. Pallets of canned Malena was still inside, sealed the door. With the push of a button, the cooking cycle began. The door shut with a heavy clang. Steam hissed through the pipes as the temperature began to climb. Under intense steam. It was a routine Malena had carried out many times before. At some point, Malena stepped into the oven itself to check on the carts. Nobody saw him go inside. On the busy floor, surrounded by noise and movement, it wasn't obvious that one worker had disappeared into the machine. A co-worker, not realizing Malena was still inside, sealed the door. With the push of a button, the cooking cycle began. The door shut with a heavy clang. Steam hissed through the pipes as the temperature began to climb. Malena was trapped. Once the system engaged, there was no release until the full cycle ended. Inside, the chamber grew hotter and hotter, turning into a massive pressure cooker. For the next 2 hours, the factory ran as normal. Pallets were stacked, forklifts beeped, and other ovens cycled through their loads. Nobody noticed he was missing. His station appeared empty, but on a floor with hundreds of moving parts, it did not draw attention. Only when the timer reached the end of the cycle did the truth emerge. Workers opened the oven expecting to unload cooked tuna. Instead, they found their co-worker. Jose Malena had been inside the chamber the entire time, sealed in during the full 2-hour process. The accident horrified the plant. Federal investigators later described the event in plain words. A man had been cooked to death in the oven designed for fish. It was one of the worst industrial accidents in California's history, an ordinary shift ending with a death almost too brutal to imagine. The acid tank incident. On February 9, 2019, 54-year-old Daniel Hill was on shift at Michigan Seamless Tube in South Lyon, Michigan. He was still new to one of the most dangerous tasks in the plant, checking the acid tanks. These were large open vats filled with hot sulfuric acid, heated to about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. The acid was used to strip rust and scale from steel tubes before they were processed further. Just after noon, Hill walked across the platform above one of the tanks. The floor was slick with mist from the fumes, and the air smelled sharp, burning the nose and throat. At around 12:20 p.m., something went wrong. Hill slipped and fell directly into the vat of acid. Co-workers nearby rushed to pull him out. They managed to drag him from the tank within moments, but the damage was already catastrophic. The acid had soaked through his clothes. His skin and flesh burned on contact. Witnesses later said it was one of the most horrifying things they had ever seen. They brought him to a safety shower and tried to wash the acid off with water. The hot chemical solution had already covered most of his body. His skin was peeling away. Despite the agony, he was conscious, screaming in pain as they tried to rinse him. Paramedics arrived quickly and rushed him to the University of Michigan Hospital in Ann Arbor. There, doctors did what they could, but the acid had burned too deeply. His injuries covered almost his entire body, and nothing could reverse the damage. Daniel Hill survived for nearly 11 hours after the fall. Throughout that time, the burns caused unbearable pain. Doctors gave him medication, but even then the suffering was beyond what most people could imagine. At 11:30 that night, he died from his injuries. Federal safety officials later investigated. In their report, the details of his death were reduced to a single cold line. Employee falls into tank of sulfuric acid and is killed. Months later, Michigan regulators fined the company $32,500 for safety violations. Hill left behind a family and grandchildren. His death was described as both slow and agonizing as he burned alive from the inside out, surviving for hours in unrelenting pain. The burrito grinder incident. On the night of July 13, 2025, a 19-year-old worker was on his shift at Tina's Burritos factory in Vernon, California. The plant produced frozen burritos on a massive scale, with rows of machines running long after the daytime staff had gone home. He worked in sanitation, cleaning the equipment after hours. That night, his task was one of the most dangerous in the building, washing down the industrial grinder that processed meat and beans. The machine was as big as a car, fitted with steel blades designed to pulverize food in seconds. Shortly before 9:30 p.m., something went wrong. Reports say the grinder was not fully shut down. As he leaned inside to clean it, the machine suddenly roared to life. In an instant, the whir of the blades turned into a nightmare. His clothing caught, and before he could pull back, his body was dragged toward the spinning metal. He screamed for help. Co-workers nearby heard him and ran. They tried to hit the stop switch, but the machine was already tearing through him. The sound of his cries echoed over the grinding noise. Witnesses later said it was the most horrifying thing they had ever seen. By the time the grinder shut down, it was too late. The 19-year-old had been pulled inside. First responders arrived quickly, but there was nothing they could do. He was declared dead at the scene. For his family, the tragedy was unbearable. A teenager, only just starting his adult life, went to work one evening and never came home. His last moments were spent in unimaginable pain, inside a machine built only to process food, not people. The printing press incident. On the morning of February 27, 2013, 26-year-old Jorge Perez arrived for his shift at Golden State Container in Los Angeles, California. The plant produced cardboard packaging for shipping and storage, and the factory floor was dominated by massive printing presses. Each press was the size of a truck, built with rollers and drums that stamped and cut cardboard into boxes. The machines ran constantly, the sound of pounding metal filling every corner of the building. Perez had worked around these machines before. They were fast and powerful, pulling entire sheets of cardboard through their rollers in seconds. Workers had to be careful never to step too close. But when you spend hours in the same place every day, the danger can start to feel normal. That morning, Perez was assigned to one of the larger presses. It was running as usual, its heavy rollers spinning nonstop. At some point during the shift, he moved too near. In an instant, the rollers caught him. The steady rhythm of the press broke suddenly. Workers nearby heard the difference. The machine made a grinding sound, and then they heard shouting. Perez had been pulled inside. Co-workers rushed forward. They hit the emergency stop, but the machine did not release him. His body was trapped deep between the rollers. The press, designed only for cardboard, had gripped him with a force no person could survive. Firefighters arrived quickly. Crews began the slow process of dismantling the machine. Piece by piece, they removed heavy metal parts. The work lasted for nearly an hour as they tried to reach him without causing further harm. The factory floor was silent, except for the sound of tools striking steel. Workers stood back, watching in shock, unable to believe what they were seeing. When Perez was finally pulled free, it was too late. The rollers had crushed him. The coroner pronounced him dead at the scene. The Iron Pot Incident. On June 2nd, 2022, 39-year-old Stephen Dierks came to work at Caterpillar's foundry in Mapleton, Illinois. He had only been at the job for 9 days. The plant made cast iron engine parts. On the melt floor stood giant open pots filled with molten iron, each one holding thousands of pounds of metal, heated to more than 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat from the floor hit workers in the face as soon as they stepped onto the platform. That morning, Dierks went to take a sample of the iron, a normal job done before the metal was poured. He carried his tools to the platform and walked up to the edge of the pot. There were no guardrails to stop someone from falling. The pot beneath him was about 11 feet deep, glowing with liquid iron that moved like water, but burned hotter than water. At some point during the task, Dierks slipped. In one step, he was gone. He fell straight into the pot. There was no time to grab anything, no chance to hold on. His co-workers saw him fall, but the heat from the pot was so strong they could not get near. The molten iron consumed him instantly. At that temperature, survival was impossible even for a second. Later reports said he was immediately incinerated. Work on the floor stopped at once. First responders arrived within minutes, but there was nothing to rescue and no body to recover. The pot had to be left to cool down, with workers ordered to keep their distance. In the following days, federal safety officials inspected the site. They wrote that the company had failed to protect workers from fall hazards near the molten iron pots. Caterpillar was fined $145,027. Stephen Dierks left behind 3 children. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for similar ones and feel free to drop suggestions for the next video in the comments.
Here are 5 of the worst deaths in human history. The last one is some serious Saw-type stuff. Number 5. Boiled alive. Ishikawa Goemon was an outlaw who lived in the late 1500s in feudal Japan, who rose to fame stealing from the rich and sharing his spoils with the poor. In modern times, he's become somewhat of a folk hero, being portrayed in anime, movies, and video games, so it's a little hard to tell what details about his life were real and what was made up. Some say he was originally a samurai, while others say he was actually a ninja. And while historians disagree on a lot of things, there's one thing they all agree on. His public execution, where he was boiled alive, was extremely cruel and unusual. But first, let's get into how he ended up in that situation. Goemon lived in a Japan ruled by Hideyoshi Toyotomi, a powerful warlord called a daimyo, who would become known as one of the 3 great unifiers of Japan. Uniting a country of samurais and ninjas is a bloody business, with a lot of collateral damage, and one story goes that Goemon's wife was unalived in one of Toyotomi's conflicts, which made him hungry for revenge. Another story says he just hated Toyotomi because he thought he was a dick and an unfair ruler, but whatever the reason, Goemon decided to assassinate the daimyo. On a warm summer night in 1594, Goemon snuck into Fushimi Castle, Toyotomi's newly constructed retirement palace, and made it all the way to the daimyo's sleeping quarters. As he slowly crept his way toward Toyotomi, he knocked over a bell that alerted guards, leading to his capture. As we'll see in this video, attempted assassinations of leaders usually do not end well for the would-be assassin, and instead of getting the standard samurai head chop execution, Goemon was instead sentenced to death by boiling. Which already seems cruel enough, but as further punishment, Goemon's young son was also sentenced to be boiled with him. On the day of his execution, a crowd gathered in front of the Nanzenji temple in Kyoto. Goemon and his son were placed into a large iron cauldron. It was filled with water, and a fire was lit to begin the execution. As the water began to boil, Goemon desperately lifted his small child above his head in an attempt to save him. From here, there are two versions of what happened next, and I'll let you choose which one you want to believe. The first, as Goemon was struggling to keep his son out of the boiling water, onlookers, not being able to stand the sight, rushed in to rescue the boy, leading to a somewhat happy ending, as Goemon passed away, seeing his son rescued and in safe hands. The second account is, far more horrific. As Goemon painfully held his crying son above his head, he looked out at the crowd and realized that no one was coming to help them, and despite his best efforts, his son would ultimately perish that day as well. Upon this dreaded realization, Goemon plunged his child into the boiling water, unaliving him as quickly as possible, and then held his steaming body above his head again as a giant middle finger to Toyotomi and all the onlookers who did nothing. He stared out at the crowd until he eventually passed away, slumping into the boiling pot of outlaw soup. Yeah, did I mention that it only gets worse from here? Number 4, Mutilation Parade. Juan de Cañamares was a Catalan peasant who in 1492 committed the biggest of no-nos, trying to assassinate King Ferdinand II of Aragon, and boy, did he pay for it. But first, some backstory. In the late 1400s, the serfs in Catalonia rebelled against their king, demanding their freedom in what's known as the War of Remences. A serf, for people who have never heard the term, was kind of like a slave that couldn't be bought or sold, and was instead assigned to work a plot of land no matter who owned it. The serfs, or Remences as they were known at the time, actually won the First War of Remences after a decade of fighting, only for nothing to really change, leading to a second War of Remences, which ultimately got them the reforms they were looking for from King Ferdinand II. Kind of. They had to buy their freedom with a huge sum of money, but I guess it was an option. Anyways, in October of 1492, King Ferdinand and his wife Isabella, thinking everything was now cool with the serfs in Catalonia, traveled to Barcelona to conduct some official business. Things were fine for a month, and the king conducted his affairs from the royal palace. However, all this changed on December 7th, 1492. As King Ferdinand was leaving the palace, Juan de Cañamares made his way through the crowd with a small sword hidden in his cape. De Cañamares snuck up behind the king and out of nowhere violently cut him from his ear to his back. Immediately, a few of the king's men jumped on De Cañamares and stabbed him 3 times before the king, December 7th, 1492. As King Ferdinand was leaving the palace, Juan de Cañamares made his way through the crowd with a small sword hidden in his cape. De Cañamares snuck up behind the king and out of nowhere violently cut him from his ear to his back. Immediately, a few of the king's men jumped on De Cañamares and stabbed him 3 times before the king, nearly passing out from his injury, commanded them to stop and keep him alive for questioning. See, the queen suspected that this assassination attempt was a plan the serfs and the entire city of Barcelona was in it, which immediately got people around De Cañamares to be like, nah, he crazy, he was totally on his own, F that guy. Nobody wanted to be sentenced to the punishment this guy was about to get. In the torture/interrogation that followed, De Cañamares confessed that he heard the devil's voice every day, telling him to unalive the king, and if he did that, then he would become the new king. This let everyone else in the town off the hook, which I'm sure was a huge relief. For his punishment, De Cañamares was stripped naked, tied to a pole on a cart, and wheeled around town. You may be thinking, that seems fun, a parade around the city. A little embarrassing, I guess, being naked and all. But oh no, we're again talking about the punishment for a royal assassination attempt here. It gets much worse. At each stop around the town, the executioner brutally removed a part of De Cañamares' body. An official account of the execution translated from Spanish goes like this. First, they cut off the hand with which he hit the king, and then with burning iron tongs they took out one of his breasts, and then they took out one of his eyes, and then they cut off his other hand, and then they took out the other eye, and then the other. The blacksmiths cut off the breast, and then the nose, and the whole body with tongs, and cut off the feet, and after all the limbs were cut off, they took out the heart through the back. One source said he died after the second stop, but they kept going anyway until the end of the wagon ride where he was stoned, and what was left of his body was burned at a stake. Things like this make me wonder why some people think time travel would be a fun idea. Number 3, molten gold. Valerian was a Roman emperor who ruled from 253 AD to 260 AD, a title that's usually pretty sweet. Power, prestige, the whole empire at your feet. But as we all know, with great power comes great opportunities to mess up spectacularly. And Valerian's mistake led to him suffering one of the worst deaths an emperor could ever imagine. During Valerian's reign, the Persians, led by King Shapur I, spectacularly. And Valerian's mistake led to him suffering one of the worst deaths an emperor could ever imagine. During Valerian's reign, the Persians, led by King Shapur I, began attacking Roman territory. Deciding he had had enough, Valerian personally led his army into battle against the Persian army of King Shapur. Valerian thought he could march in, flash some swords, and be home in time for a nice goblet of wine. But, surprise, surprise, the Persians were a little tougher than expected. In the Battle of Edessa, the Persians decisively defeated Valerian, and Valerian pretty snubbled after the second stop, but they kept going anyway until the end of the wagon ride where he was stoned, and what was left of his body was burned at a stake. Things like this make me wonder why some people think time travel would be a fun idea. Number 3, molten gold. Valerian was a Roman emperor who ruled from 253 AD to 260 AD, a title that's usually pretty sweet. Power, prestige, the whole empire at your feet. But as we all know, with great power comes great opportunities to mess up spectacularly. Valerian's mistake led to him suffering one of the worst deaths an emperor could ever imagine. During Valerian's reign, the Persians, led by King Shapur I, began attacking Roman territory. Deciding he had had enough, Valerian personally led his army into battle against the Persian army of King Shapur. Valerian thought he could march in, flash some swords, and be home in time for a nice goblet of wine. But, surprise, surprise, the Persians were a little tougher than expected. In the Battle of Edessa, the Persians decisively defeated Valerian's army, and he and his men were taken prisoner. As a captive, Valerian got the VIP treatment. Very intense punishment. Shapur really got off on the fact that the Emperor of Rome was now his prisoner and subjected Valerian to the most humiliating punishments. He used Valerian as his personal footstool. Every time Shapur wanted to ride his horse, he would make Valerian get on all fours and step on him to get on his horse. Talk about a career downgrade. But the humiliation didn't stop there. Valerian was also paraded around like a trophy, a living example of Persian dominance. Here's where it gets really, really not fun for Valerian. There are some differing stories on how Shapur really often, but the most popular story is that Valerian tried to bribe Shapur for his release by offering a mountain of gold. This gave Shapur a great idea, and he forced Valerian to swallow molten gold as punishment, which ultimately did him in. The second way people think he may have died was that Shapur had him skinned alive. Also terrible, but whatever version you want to believe, after Valerian was dead, Shapur had his skin stuffed and displayed him as a trophy animal that he would show off to guests. From ruler of one of the most powerful empires in the world to being a janky scarecrow, Valerian's story is one for your nightmares. Number 2, roasted eggplant. Okay, for this next one, I originally was going to talk about someone else, but it turns out William Wallace, you know, the guy Mel Gibson made the movie Braveheart about in the 1990s, died the exact same brutal way. Which makes me think the English really did not mess around with executions in the 1300s. This death is absolutely horrific, and so much worse than the one shown at the end of the movie. For those of you who didn't watch the wildly entertaining, but historically inaccurate movie Braveheart, William Wallace was a Scottish knight who was a central figure in the First Scottish War for Independence in the late 13th and early 14th century. He led the Scots in many battles against the English, most notably in the Battle of Stirling Bridge, where he led a small army to a decisive victory over a much larger English force. By the early 1300s, he was declared a traitor to the English crown, which he argued didn't make sense because he never pledged his loyalty to the English king. But the king was like, "Roasted eggplant says what?" What? Exactly! In August of 1305, he was ultimately captured and sentenced to death in a way that would be considered barbaric in today's modern society. On August 23, 1305, Wallace was stripped naked and dragged through the city of London at the heels of a horse until he reached the elms at Smithfield. He was then strangled by hanging, but released, gasping for air just as he was passing out. Then, I'm not making this up, his eggplant was cut off and thrown into a fire right in front of his eyes. He was then gutted, while again still alive, and made to watch his entrails be thrown into the fire. Finally, he was beheaded, and his body was chopped into 4 pieces and sent throughout the kingdom to be displayed as a warning. His head was dipped in tar and placed on a spike on London Bridge. Needless to say, he was not yelling, "Freedom!" like in the movie. And like I said earlier, there was another guy who was executed in the exact same way with the roasted eggplant and everything. Man, the Middle Ages were rough. Number 1, Iron Throne. This one is some literal Saw movie type stuff, so click away if you're not into that. György Doja was a decorated Hungarian soldier who led a massive peasant revolt in 1514. What initially began as the recruitment of a peasant army for a crusade against the Ottoman Empire quickly turned into an all-out revolution when these peasants collectively realized how crappy they were all being treated and changed the target of the crusade to their landlords and nobles. Talk about an Uno reverse. Doja, being sympathetic to these common folk, found himself leading this army in what was later known as Doja's Rebellion. Armed with limited weapons, but fueled by rage, the army of peasants began burning towns, slaughtering landlords, and taking over castles and forts. Everything was all going great with this new crusade, until, well, it wasn't. The tide turned when the nobles decided they didn't really like this new crusade. Led by a powerful Hungarian noble, John Zapolya, the nobles crushed Doja's forces in a decisive battle. Doja was captured, and unfortunately, Zapolya was not in a forgiving mood. He wanted to make an example out of Doja, and he came up with a punishment so gruesome it makes the other stuff on our list look like a spa day. Doja was made to sit on a throne. That doesn't seem that bad. Oh, this throne was made of burning hot iron. As Doja painfully sat cooking on his new throne, a red-hot iron crown was placed on his head, and a similarly heated scepter was placed in his hand to mock his brief kingship during the revolt. This wasn't just an execution, it was a medieval roast, literally. Next, 9 of Doja's starving followers were brought in and offered a special meal, pieces of their roasted master. Pliers were taken out of a fire and used to rip flesh from Doja's body. The peasants were ordered to take bites of Doja from the area the pliers had cooked and torn away. Imagine being so hungry you'd eat anything, and then being ordered to eat the guy who had been your biggest hero. Any peasant who refused to eat their boss was cut into pieces on the spot, showing the other peasant rebels that the nobles meant business. Eventually, Doja succumbed to his injuries, and the peasants who ate a piece of their former hero were let go with trauma that probably lasted the rest of their life. Oh, and Zapolya? He went on to become the king of Hungary. Today, we're going over the most epic deaths in... Here are 5 of the worst deaths in human history. Here are the most horrific things Genghis Khan did to his enemies, ranked from bad to, oh my god, that is horrible. Number 8, offering his brother Bekir over a fish. So we all know Genghis Khan was a pretty brutal warlord. We're making a list of his most horrific acts after all, but he didn't grow up as that big a deal. When he was 9, his father Yasuke was poisoned by a rival tribe, and Genghis, then known as Temujin, and his family were abandoned by their tribe and forced to figure out how to stay alive on their own on the hardcore Mongolian steppe. Even though he was still just a kid,
Bro, these bugs are crazy. Oh my god,
he had to
I'm
protect
small.
his family or they all starve. So this is what he does for years. And one day when he was 14, after a long day of fishing, he brings home some fish that he caught, and his half-brother Bekir just takes one and eats the whole damn thing all by himself. Like, what the hell, Bekir? This understandably pissed off our boy Genghis, and instead of conducting a constructive conversation based on the principles of nonviolent communication, he ended up deciding that it was better to simply shoot an arrow into his back instead. But the Gordon and his family were abandoned by their tribe and forced to figure out how to stay alive on their own on the hardcore Mongolian steppe. Even though he was still just a kid, Chinggis was out there hunting and foraging because now he had to provide for his family or they'd all starve. So this is what he does for years. And one day when he was 14, after a long day of fishing, he brings home some fish that he caught. And his half-brother Bektor just takes one and eats the whole damn thing all by himself. Like, what the hell, Bektor? This understandably pissed off our boy Chinggis, and instead of conducting a constructive conversation based on the principles of nonviolent communication, he ended up deciding that it was better to simply shoot an arrow into his back instead. This led to the unfortunate consequence of his brother dying. Well, unfortunate for Bektor at least. Killing Bektor wasn't just a way to get back at him for not sharing food. It was also a way for little Temujin to establish himself as the dominant figure in the family. Bektor was kind of his mom's favorite. A little easier to be the favorite kid if there are less kids, I guess. Number 7. Killing people even after he died. So this list is not in chronological order, and a lot happened between the arrow incident with Bektor and Chinggis Khan's death. In 1227, his empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea, but on his deathbed, at the age of 65, he gave his final orders on how his body will be buried after he passed away. He wanted to be remembered as a god, and for that to work, he needed to make sure his corpse was never found. He ordered servants to carry his corpse into the wilderness so that nobody would notice. If anyone saw them as they were walking, they would instantly be killed. While some of his men went to bury his body, some soldiers remained at a distance standing guard. There are some legends that after burying his body, Chinggis' men went as far as diverting an entire river to make sure nobody would find his tomb. These guys really took their job seriously. Anyways, when they came back from burying Chinggis' body, they were all immediately executed by the soldiers standing by. Nothing personal or anything, but guys really took their job seriously. Anyways, after burying his body, Chinggis' men went as far as diverting an entire river to make sure nobody would find his tomb. These guys really took their job seriously. Anyways, when they came back from burying Chinggis' body, they were all immediately executed by the soldiers standing by. Nothing personal or anything, but Chinggis said, "No witnesses, so sorry, dude." According to some stories, the soldiers then ended their own lives to make sure the tomb's location was never leaked. But other stories say that these soldiers were all executed when they got back by another group of soldiers who were waiting for them. In any case, anyone who was involved with the burial of Chinggis Khan died just shortly after he did. So even after he was dead, Chinggis was still personally killing more people. Number 6. Inalchuk's punishment. Ever heard of the Khwarezmian Empire? It was a pretty big deal back in the day. In 1218, Chinggis Khan sent a caravan of around 450 men to a city called Otrar, bringing gold and various goods, hoping to establish a peaceful trade relationship. Pretty easy way to get on Chinggis' good side, except the governor of the city named Inalchuk thought this was a spy mission, so naturally he started an investigation while the 450 men awaited trial. Oh wait, no, he executed the entire caravan and gave the goods to his friends in another city. If his half-brother eating a whole fish angered Chinggis Khan, just imagine how he must have felt then. After a failed diplomatic mission, which resulted in another one of his diplomats getting killed by the Khwarezmians, Chinggis Khan took a business trip out of Mongolia and completely decimated their entire empire. We're not talking about some little tribe here. Diplomats getting killed by the Khwarezmians, Chinggis Khan took a business trip out of Mongolia and completely decimated their entire empire. We're not talking about some little tribe here. Look at their map. Some estimates say about 10 million people died. Take a look at all that's left of Otrar. But that's not the horrible thing we're focusing on here, because any maniac can kill 10 million people, and we'll get to more things he did in Khwarezmia later on here, because any maniac can kill 10 million people, and we'll get to more things he did in Khwarezmia later in the list. For now, let's stick to Otrar and talk about what he did to Inalchuk, who was captured alive. After the regular, boring torture, Inalchuk is brought in front of Chinggis, and as punishment for his greed, he orders his men to pour molten silver onto Inalchuk's eyes and face. It may have been into his ears, or his whole face, or his whole body, depending on the story. But the point is that it was absolutely brutal. Number 5. Using human shields. Imagine how tough it must be to invade China back in 1211. time, the Mongols were still transitioning out of their nomadic horse-riding troublemaker phase to the empire-building phase, and they still hadn't figured out the whole siege warfare thing. When Genghis begins to invade territory in China that was controlled by the Jin dynasty, he's kind of stumped. These Chinese cities have huge walls with huge doors, and on top of that, they don't even let him in. Rude! The annoying defenders of these cities would also do things like shoot his men with arrows and plant booby traps and stuff. So, to minimize Mongol casualties, he came up with a brilliant idea: capturing civilians and prisoners of war to use as human shields, a tactic known as karash, meaning living boards. The Mongols would pillage surrounding towns and take prisoners to use as human shields. They would take these prisoners to the cities they were trying to siege and hide behind them as they were shot with arrows from the defenders. The prisoners being in the front of the line would also be the ones to walk into any traps that were intended for the Mongols. You might be thinking, human shields? That's not very original. But what made this extreme was Genghis' shields weren't just men. He included women and children in there too. Imagine what it was like for the Jin soldiers in the city to have to shoot women who looked like their wife or mom. Sometimes the Mongols took this tactic even further. During sieges, they would force the captives to carry siege equipment towards the walls, knowing full well that they'd be the first to get hit by the defenders' arrows, bombs, and boiling oil. Yeah, pouring boiling oil on attackers was apparently normal back then. And Genghis Khan didn't use this tactic just once. It became his calling card, showing he was willing to sacrifice anyone just to reach his goals. In fact, he was probably more than willing. He probably enjoyed it. Number 4, Siege of Jiangdu. So the Mongols spend a few months to figure out how to get into these Chinese cities. And through
Yeah, I'm going to bed.
The Batman. On June 28, 2008, 17-year-old Asia LaShawn Ferguson visited Six Flags Over Georgia with his family and church group. The Batman was an inverted roller coaster where passengers' legs dangled freely below the track. During his ride, Ferguson's hat flew off his head. After the ride ended, he wanted to retrieve it. The hat had landed in a restricted area beneath the roller coaster tracks. Warning signs marked the zone as off-limits. Ferguson climbed over 2 6-foot fences to reach the area where his hat had fallen. As he searched below, another train approached on the track above him. The train was traveling at 50 miles per hour. A passenger's dangling foot struck Ferguson in the head. The impact was instant. Ferguson was decapitated. Witnesses saw the collision. The train continued to the station, while Ferguson's body lay below. Six Flags temporarily closed the Batman. It reopened the following day. The park added security around restricted areas and more warning signs. Ferguson's death became one of the most graphic roller coaster fatalities in recent years. The Big Dipper. On May 30th, 1972, a warm Tuesday afternoon in London, schools had just broken up for half-term, and Battersea Fun Fair was packed. The Big Dipper was a wooden roller coaster that had been operating since 1951. 3 cars connected by a steel cable. The cable pulled the cars up a steep incline, then gravity did the rest. Around 2:30 p.m., 31 passengers climbed aboard, mostly children and teenagers. At the front rode a brakeman whose job was to control the brakes. The train began its climb, then the haulage rope snapped. The train hesitated at the top, then started rolling backwards. The brakeman lunged for the brake lever, but nothing happened. The brake system did not respond. The safety devices that should have stopped a rollback were missing or broken. As the train picked up speed, it hit the curve at the bottom at full speed. The wooden track couldn't handle the force. The first car jumped the rails, smashed through the barrier, and plunged 15 feet. The other 2 cars followed. Passengers were thrown from their seats. When the chaos ended, 5 children were dead, and 13 others were seriously injured. Later, a 15-year-old girl who had survived the crash was standing on a wooden walkway when the platform collapsed beneath her feet. She fell to her death. The subsequent investigation revealed 66 safety violations. The rope was in poor condition. Most safety devices were missing or broken. Investigators also found that employees had been drinking and using drugs while working. The ride's manager and engineer were later acquitted of manslaughter charges. The Big Dipper was torn down, and Battersea Fun Fair closed by 1974. Britain brought fairgrounds under safety laws following the incident. The Shockwave. On August 23, 1999, 20-year-old Timothy Fan visited King's Dominion with a friend. The Shockwave was a stand-up roller coaster. Passengers stood upright, secured by shoulder harnesses and waist bars. Fan boarded the 6-car train. As the train climbed the lift hill and began its descent, witnesses noticed something wrong. Fan was wiggling and struggling against his restraints. He managed to work one arm free from the shoulder harness. His body began to contort sideways as the train gained speed through the course. Near the end of the ride, the coaster entered a 180-degree curve. The forces acting on Fan's body proved too powerful. He was violently ejected from the train and thrown 40 feet onto a catwalk beside the tracks. Fan died instantly from head trauma. When the train returned to the station, Fan's restraints were still locked. He had deliberately worked himself free during the ride. The Shockwave reopened 3 days later. The Mindbender. On June 14, 1986, the West Edmonton Mall in Alberta was packed with visitors. The mall housed an indoor amusement park featuring the Mindbender, a triple-loop steel roller coaster. The Mindbender had 4 cars connected in a train. It reached speeds of 60 miles per hour and took passengers through 3 complete loops. The ride had passed a safety inspection the day before. That evening, Rod Chaiko and 3 friends climbed into the last car of the train. The train launched and completed the first 2 loops. As it entered the 3rd loop, 4 cap screws in the wheel assembly failed. The last car began to fishtail wildly. The wheel detached from the track. The car derailed completely. The lap bar restraints unlocked, ejecting all 4 passengers 30 feet to the concrete floor below. The train, slowed by the derailment, rolled backwards and crashed into a concrete support pillar. Rescuers found 3 passengers dead. Rod Chaiko survived, but was critically injured. Both his legs were shattered, along with his ribs, shoulder, pelvis, and lower back. His body was folded in half from the impact. He spent months learning to walk again. The investigation found design flaws in the wheel assembly and inadequate maintenance. The cap screws had worked loose over time. The Mindbender was and passengers all cap screws the day before. Assembly failed to the concrete, but was investigated when it. The Big Dipper 2. On July 24, 1930, a hot summer day in Omaha, Nebraska, Krug Park was packed with visitors. The Big Dipper was a wooden roller coaster, 4 cars connected in a train. The ride pulled passengers up the first hill, then gravity did the rest. That afternoon, 23 passengers filled the 4 cars. Among them were Gladys Lundgren, C.H. Stout, Anthony Politica, and 15-year-old Ruth Frell. The train began its climb up the first hill. Then a bolt in the brake mechanism worked loose and jammed one of the wheels. The first car jumped the track. It broke through the guardrail and plunged 35 feet to the ground. The other 3 cars were dragged off behind it. Passengers were thrown from their seats or crushed beneath the derailed cars. The impact was devastating. 4 people were dead and 19 others were seriously injured. But the crowd of spectators had surged forward to see what happened. Thousands of people surrounded the crash site, blocking emergency access. Ambulances arrived, but couldn't reach the victims. Police were forced to break down sections of the park fence to create routes for medical personnel. The investigation found that the loose bolt had caused the wheel to lock up, forcing the car off the rails. Krug Park never recovered. Attendance dropped, and the park closed by 1940. The city of Omaha banned roller coasters for years afterwards. The site was later converted into a public park with no rides. The Big Dipper accident became known as the deadliest roller coaster. The matter of U.S. history at that time. The Matterhorn bobsleds. On January 3, 1984, 48-year-old Dolly Young visited Disneyland with 5 friends. The Matterhorn bobsleds featured small sleds that traveled through an artificial mountain at 43 miles per hour. Young sat alone in her sled while her friends took the parallel track. The sleds began their descent through the mountain's tunnels. Partway through the ride, Young fell from her bobsled onto the tracks. An oncoming sled approached on the parallel track. The family inside thought the figure on the tracks was a dummy. The bobsled struck Young at full speed. She was decapitated instantly. The father in the oncoming sled realized what had happened. He screamed at his daughters to close their eyes as their sled passed over Young's body. The ride operators shut down the attraction when Young's empty sled arrived at the station. Young was pronounced dead at the scene. Her safety restraint was found fastened on a neighboring seat. The Matterhorn reopened the next day. Disney made modifications to the ride, though the changes were not disclosed. The Wild Wonder. On August 28, 1999, Kimberly Bailey and her 8-year-old daughter Jessica visited Jillian's Wonderland Pier in Ocean City, New Jersey. The Wild Wonder was a small steel roller coaster. Individual cars were pulled up a 40-foot incline before rolling through the course. Bailey and Jessica climbed into one of the cars. As their car neared the top of the lift hill, the anti-rollback mechanism failed. The car lost contact with the lift chain and began rolling backwards down the incline. The car gained speed as it hurtled toward the station. It crashed violently into the loading area at the bottom. Bailey and Jessica were thrown from the car. Both died instantly. The park had replaced the coaster's anti-rollback device with an unapproved, locally made part. The faulty component had failed to engage. The Wild Wonder was shut down and removed. New Jersey upgraded its regulations where trains raced against each approved parts only. The Derby Racer. In 1911, the Derby Racer opened at Revere Beach, Massachusetts. It featured two parallel tracks where trains raced against each other in a figure-8 pattern. The ride had no restrictions, no speed controls, and basic wooden construction. Passengers simply held on as the trains raced around curves and hills. Within weeks of opening, disaster struck. A man was thrown from his car during a turn and died. Later that year, the company's own treasurer was killed. He had stood up in his car to lecture passengers about safety when he was ejected from the ride. Authorities closed the coaster and demanded safety improvements. The owners installed primitive brakes and lap bars before reopening, but the deaths continued. On a busy day in 1917, a man lost his hat during the ride. He tried to retrieve it and fell out of his car on a high incline. He landed on the adjacent track. The other racing train struck him at full speed. The wreckage told the story. The impact broke nearly every bone in his body. He died shortly after. Another passenger was thrown from the train in 1929. Despite 3 confirmed deaths and numerous injuries, the Derby Racer continued operating for 25 years. Each incident led to minor modifications, but the fundamental design remained dangerous. The ride's license was revoked and reinstated multiple times as authorities struggled with the deadly model attraction. The Derby Racer finally closed in 1936 when it was replaced by a newer model. It became known as one of the most dangerous roller coasters in Brazil. The Rough Riders. In 1910, the Rough Riders roller coaster opened at Coney Island. The ride featured an electric-powered system where the motorman controlled speed with a throttle. That first year, the train derailed on a 17 passengers were thrown from the track. 3 people were dead, and many others were seriously injured. Coney Island officials made minor improvements, but the ride continued operating. 5 years later, on July 27, 1915, 6 passengers boarded the Rough Riders. As the train gained speed down a steep incline, it approached a sharp turn. The motorman took the turn too fast. The train's wheels left the track. The car flipped on its side 30 feet in the air. Passengers were hurled into an iron railing and fell to the ground below. The damage was severe. 3 riders were killed by the fall. 2 others clung to the wrecked car until police rescued them. A woman and her son survived by hanging onto the handrail. A bystander on the ground was struck by a falling body. The Rough Riders had now killed 6 people in 5 years. The ride was shut down after the 1915 accident and dismantled within a few years.
I'm so sick,
The
bro.
repeated tragedies helped establish early safety regulations at Coney Island.
This trash is making me
Requirements
sick.
for better braking systems and restraints. The Fujin Raijin 2. On May 5th, 2007, Expoland Amusement Park in Osaka was packed with visitors for Children's Day. Fujin Raijin 2 was a stand-up roller coaster. 20 passengers boarded the 6-car train, including 19-year-old university student Yoshino Kogawara. The train launched and began its course. As it traveled 131 feet above the ground, passengers heard a loud crack. The second car suddenly derailed. The wheel axle had snapped, causing the car to tilt violently. Kogawara was thrown against the guardrail at high speed. She struck her head and was killed instantly. The derailed car dragged the rest of the train for 984 feet before stopping. 19 other passengers were injured. The investigation revealed extreme negligence. The park had skipped annual maintenance in 2007. The wheel axle had not been replaced in 15 years. Park officials had reported the axle as good condition, based only on visual inspection. The axle had cracked from metal fatigue. Proper testing would have detected the crack, but Expoland had bypassed all safety requirements. Expoland's attendance collapsed after the accident. The park briefly reopened and closed permanently in 2009 as the owners declared that reached speeds of 78 miles per hour. The ride had problems from the start, with track malfunctions and rough jolting. In 2001, riders suffered broken vertebrae and a broken neck. Another passenger was hospitalized with back injuries. On July 9, 2006, 27 passengers were aboard, when one train cracked a support beam while passing through the Rose Bowl section. The damaged beam caused the track to sag. When the next train hit the weakened section, the track dipped suddenly. The jolt was brutal. 27 people were rushed to hospitals with chest and neck injuries. One passenger said it felt like hitting a brick wall. The investigation found cracked and splintered wooden support beams throughout the structure. Son of Beast reopened after modifications, but another accident occurred in 2009. A passenger suffered a broken blood vessel in her head. The ride never operated again. It was demolished in 2012. Son of Beast had become one of the most notorious failures in roller coaster history. The Cobra. In 2008, the Cobra roller coaster opened at Tivoli Friheden Amusement Park in Aarhus, Denmark. Months after opening, the front car detached from the track. 4 young riders were injured with fractures and concussions. The park made repairs, and the Cobra continued operating. On July 14, 2022, riders felt a jolt and heard cracking metal as the train went through its course. The rear car broke off from the track. The last row of seats detached and hung off the side of the coaster. A 14-year-old girl in the rear car was thrown and killed. A 13-year-old boy next to her suffered a hand injury, but survived. The train ground to a halt. Park staff evacuated the area. The girl could not be saved. The same structural flaw had now caused 2 major accidents. Tivoli Friheden dismantled the Cobra the next day, and the ride was permanently closed. The Cobra had failed twice in identical fashion over 14 years of operation. The Chimera. On September 28, 2019, visitors gathered at La Feria Chapultepec Mágico in Mexico City. The Chimera was a triple-loop steel roller coaster. The aging Schwarzkopf model had a history of maintenance issues. That day, witnesses saw the last car of a train shake violently and derail on a turn near the end of the ride. The rear car flipped upside down and detached completely. 2 riders were thrown out from 33 feet. 2 young men, ages 18 and 21, died from head injuries. 2 women were also injured when the car slammed into the structure. The investigation found that a component in the car's axle assembly had broken, causing it to detach. Mexico City authorities immediately closed La Feria Chapultepec. Investigators found multiple safety violations and revoked the park's permit. Within months, the historic amusement park was permanently shut down and dismantled. If you enjoyed this video,
on June 30th, 1764, Jean Blaise, a 14-year-old shepherd girl from the French Gevos, was attacked by a mysterious beast while watching over her flock of sheep. However, she bravely confronted the beast with a stick she was holding to protect the sheep, and the sheep did not run away but instead surrounded her, allowing Jean to save one of them. Jean is seen walking behind the giant beast as it retreats into the dark forest. It looked like a wolf, but it was definitely not a wolf. This incident was merely a supporting role in a university study that would occur later. In July of the same year, young shepherds living in the neighboring area began to be attacked indiscriminately. The victims were all found with their limbs torn off or their necks cut off, and the villagers assumed that they had been killed by wolves. This was because attacks by wolves were frequent at the time, and although wolves were afraid of people, it was common for them to attack children and women in packs. Therefore, while the villagers found it inconvenient, they did not think it was particularly unusual. If necessary, they could simply recruit members of the werewolf gang and drive it away, and they would be able to live there. However, things gradually began to take an unexpected turn. The attacks continued day and night with great skill and precision, and the number of casualties increased with each passing day. Jaboda, located on a plateau, was a place with rugged terrain and bullet holes, so measures against attacks and responses to damage were often delayed. What caused people to feel uneasy was the unanimous statement from those who survived the attacks that it was not a wolf. At that time, belief in supernatural beings was very strong, and the fear of werewolves in particular was the most deeply rooted. Something that looked like a wolf but was not a wolf, something larger than a wolf, a monster with a high level of intelligence that seemed to play with people. The residents feared it and called it the beast, meaning beast. The number of casualties exceeded double digits, and the number of injured people increased day by day. However, there was still no clue to the beast, and the damage continued to increase without any solution. Meanwhile, Etienne Lafont, the royal agent in charge of the Jaboda region, received reports every week about a mysterious
Bro.
get 2K.
Yo, thank you for that chat, bro. Oh, Alexandria. Oh, yo. Nah, bro. I can't. I can't, bro. And yo, I was just about to go to bed. Damn. 2K26. $70? Yo, bro. Yo, bro.
Yo.
$70? I don't think I could get that. Well, let's see. What was I looking at? Bro, what was I looking at? Yo, I was just about to go to bed.
Do it.
Alright, I'll go to bed, bed. I'll go to bed, bed. I'll go to bed, bed. I can't buy 2K, but I could go to bed. Deactivate. Alright. No, it's lagging.
Brilliant.
It's lagging. Fuck, it's lagging.
Imadidas you.
No. Bro, I'm trying to fix my sleep schedule. Alright. One sec. I'm gonna get a nice background video. I'm gonna get a nice peaceful relaxing background video. Sleep,
Get now get.
No! I'm not!
Sleeping on stream.
Yes!
Yes lol. Yes lol.
Alright, let's see. Sleep hypnosis. Deep sleep. Alright, let's see let's see this one. I'll have my phone chat open and I'll be listening to it on my phone. So until I fall asleep, I'll be listening.
Put farting noises on.
Nah, bro. Hey, you'll hear the farts. You'll hear the farts naturally. Video capture device. Bro, I don't even know what I'm doing. Window capture. I'll do this so I can have a white background like this. Hold on. I'll wear a shirt so it's less gay. Well, I have to pee first. Wait, no. Wait, hold on, you still here? Wait, Andrew, you still here? If you're still here, I gotta show you a cool vid. Na 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 na. You will go down just like Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Oh.
Yeet.
Yo, bro, I should show you some. I should show you some cool videos. And I should see what you think about it. Hold on, where's alright? Where's all the conspiracy videos? Oh my goodness, this is like the only day in the past week I'm not looking at conspiracy videos. What's a good one? Oh my goodness, I don't know. All I gotta tell you is, yo, when you look at society, the answer's already there. With who who they be worshiping. Oh, this is the good guy. This is good. G. Craig Lewis, hip hop. Where's the good one? Alright, let's see. Where is it?
About to get real informed. I'm not done and I'm not giving you a time, okay? So just Romans 1:26. For this cause God gave them up to vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. Likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unthinkable, and receiving in themselves the punishment of their error. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them up to what they wanted to do and let them be. And he let them do those things which are not convenient. This is going to make a whole lot of sense. I'm about to wrap all of this up so you will understand what I'm talking about. All this that I'm talking about the woman being superior, the man submitting to the woman, authority being shifted, order being flipped, just like it was in the garden. Order is now flipped.
Bro, everything this guy speaks is facts.
Mother of all God's spirit is superseding the authority of men, and it is creating an understanding, or almost a religious understanding, that we know today in our world as the New World Order. This is what the devil wants. This is Madam Helen Blavatsky. She was visited by one of those ascension masters. He told her, hey, got a plan. You're going to change the world. Blavatsky had been instructed by her masters, those guys, to bring the ancient wisdom from the East and the universal.
This is where the Satanism infiltrates society.
Via the Theosophical Society. She created the Theosophical Society where they would study the ancient wisdom of Eastern mysticism, would bring that into government and begin to influence government with this understanding.
Wait, am I in cam?
Always uses a woman.
Have you seen the movie
Helen
American
Blavatsky
Psycho?
would frequently dress up as a man and believe sex was a tool of the gods. She believed women could use their sexuality to rule the world. She had a pupil.
It's kind of a corny movie, but American Satan's kind of corny, but if you hold on, how to explain it? I'll show you. I'll show it.
Left Blavatsky's group and founded her own arcane school, wherein the term New Age itself originated. So this is where we got New Age.
Just look, literally the Lucifer Publishing Company.
In 1922, Bailey founded the Lucifer Publishing Company. Let me say that one more time. The Lucifer Publishing Company.
And it's literally the.
To publish her and Blavatsky's writings. And she was the
And this is what it became.
of Aleister Crowley. To publish her and Blavatsky's writing and publish a magazine entitled, guess what? Lucifer. That organization, y'all not gonna believe this, Lucifer Publishing Company, that organization continues to this, look at somebody say this day, continues to
Well, I gotta
this
search
day
up the video on the second tab.
It is a current UN accredited NGO with the United Nations Economic and Social Council and an officially acknowledged financial contributor to the United Nations.
Oh shit.
Think she don't have no pool?
Literally in the like that's how little they care about or that's how little they don't, or that's how obvious they make it. Either that's how obvious they make it, or that's how little they don't give a fuck about like the possibility about there being a god, when they literally have shit called the Lucis Trust, and they have like literally have a telescope called the, I don't know, yeah, I don't know enough, but yeah, something like that.
She changed the world.
I was gonna search up.
Let me tell you how. This guy visited Bailey, one of those ascension masters, Lord of the Seven Rays. Alice Bailey, in an address to her arcane school conference in Geneva, Switzerland, suggested that the Shambhala force, the force from the invisible dimensions led by Lord Maitreya, this dude, look at somebody say that's not Jesus, Lord Maitreya, will be destructive. It will also, she said, eject unbelievers from the earth. The decision to release the Shambhala force during this century into direct contact with the human kingdom is one of the final and most compelling acts of preparation for the new age, according to Alice Bailey. What is she going to do? She's going to create the new age and the new world order. She has a 10-point plan. Way back then, listen to this 10-point plan and you're going to say, wow. This was way back in 1922. She said, the first thing we have to do is take God and prayer out of schools. Got to free Christians from Christian culture. This is what those lords of the rays told her. Second, reduce parental authority over children. Break the communication between parents and children. I remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, celebrity children started suing their parents and stuff. Y'all remember that? Just out of the blue. Number 3, destroy the Judeo-Christian family structure and promote sexual promiscuity.
Dang, I can't find the video I'm looking for.
Number 4, make abortion
Liked videos.
Make abortion legal. Build clinics for abortion to free people of unnecessary fears. 5 in her plan, make divorce easy and legal. Free people from the concept of marriage for life. In other words, make marriage a contract and not a covenant. Folks can get in and out of
Bro,
it.
I'm trying to look for this video on the second tab.
In and out of it. Pastors, bishops. Oh boy, see, folks ain't listening. Yeah, I don't like you no more. I'm leaving. Number 6, make homosexuality an alternative lifestyle. Wow. Number 7, debase art. In other words, change the face of art. Make it run mad, crazy. In other words, the arts, the music, all of these different things. Make it crazy where it just has no morals. Number 8, use the media to promote and change people's mindset. So when you want to give them a message, put it on the tizoo. Put it on TV, and they'll go for it. Right? A man ain't supposed to wear a woman's garments. But put it on a black guy,
Very
call him
trippy.
a Christian, let him smoke a cigarette and cuss. That's funny. We'll all buy it. We'll even put him on TBN and let him minister.
I can't find this damn video, bro.
Oh, I wish I could tell the truth in this place. Or somebody create an interfaith movement by promoting other faiths to be equal with Christianity.
Alright, yo. I hope you're still looking. Fuck, I cannot find the video I'm looking for, but this is something. All I gotta tell you. Hold on, I'm just checking to see. All I gotta tell you is the world is compromised. The world is literally compromised. Sports are compromised. Hollywood is compromised. Movies are compromised. Streamers are compromised. All I gotta tell you is we're essentially living in, or I don't know, like we're living in a world of fake, a world of false, by their own design. Like it's all in movies. If you've seen A Clockwork Orange, let's get.
Rock and roll, heavy metal. You know, you guys, you're so loyal to me. You wear me on your sleeve. But your fans,
I believe it.
It's crazy, but in movies they literally they hide they hide it in plain sight by like just explaining it like this.
have you ever seen Iron Maiden? They filled stadiums full of their fans, singing along to songs like "The Number of the Beast." Or what about Van Halen? Running with the Devil, the Stones, Sympathy for
My
the
homie
Devil.
is watching but can't type. He wants to know your views on the
On it
Jews.
goes.
What I think is, hold on. Here's the reality of it. Here's the reality of the world. What am I saying? What am I trying to say? The reality of the world is think of it like this. The people at the top, they want us to hate each other. The people at the top want us to discourse. The people at the top like racism. The people at the top, they like just discord. Think of Discord. Literally Discord. Discord is like means like arguing. Or shit, Discord definition. They just basically they don't profit off us being enlightened. They profit off us being consumers and just buying into every little thing that's thrown at us. That's why when you see the Raja Jackson situation, alright, what I think is basically the Roger Jackson thing, like it was planned. Everyone they're trying to do that stuff. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about it. But basically the Roger Jackson situation was done in order to create like a just more reasons to hate black people. More reasons for people to on Twitter to like to just hate, just spew hatred. So here's the thing about Jews. Jews, while they are basically, alright, what am I trying to say? Jews are good, but the bro. Alright, here's the thing. Their beliefs. Fuck. I'm just gonna type it. Good, elites, bad.
Jess are good, elites bad.
Jews are
Jess are good, elites bad.
the common people have nothing to, like, think about this, like the common people have nothing to do with like the government. Like what am I saying? I gotta close my window. My window's too far. Think of it like this.
What LMAO? The Jews are basically just winning. The Jews are basically just winning. In terms terms of they are raising their children much more healthier compared to the average American today.
Like,
In terms of they are raising their children much more healthier compared to the average American today.
bro, I gotta turn that shit off. Basically just like, basically they're good. That's the what's it called? They're literally just good. No. What am I saying? What am I saying? Cause literally, alright. As much, alright. Cause literally, alright. Like it's just evil. Like being serious is just evil what they're doing. Cause they're just like killing for the purpose of they're just literally just killing Palestinians for the purpose of just killing them. Like it was just sick, which is crazy. Like at this point, from releasing them, like they want to force Palestine into like a permanent genocide, or they want to like dwindle their numbers by just like constantly having a constant genocide for the foreseeable future. This is basically a war that will never end, essentially. Until yeah, nah, it'll just never end until probably the Jews give up, or probably the Jews say like, oh, all right, we done. I don't know though. I don't know anything. Cause yet again, the government and the common person are like I don't know. Like we will never know what we could assume what the government thinks, but what they really, I don't know. Here's the thing: what they really want is a one world government. But I don't know. What am I saying? Jeez, bro. Fuck! I can't find all the shit I'm looking for. Basically, like, think of it like this. It's not worth caring about it. It's not worth caring about it because literally, it's only the only thing that's important in the world is your own mind, because that's what's constantly in. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah. Because alright, think about it like this: the mind in today's society, the mind is constantly under attack, on every single avenue. Like, think of a circle. We're being attacked from every single corner, from media, from just life, just society, just I don't know. It's literally the Matrix. They're harvesting our energy. It's literally the Matrix. Alright, now, alright, can I find this video? American Satan. Bro, I'm not gonna find. Oh, this is it. Alright, this is the video I was looking for. Think about it like this. Everybody, the reality is, what I'm saying. Everybody is generally. I don't know. No, I don't know what I'm saying. I was about to say everybody is generally equal, but nah, that's not true. But everybody is put in a. The reality is everyone truly is equal, but we're not treated that way. The reality is everyone should be treated equally. That's the reality. So like, don't let racism is a number one path to hell. That's all I gotta say. Funny coming from me, but yeah. There's many paths, but yeah, that in the moment, in today's digital age, that's the number one path. That's the number one soul trap. W. Damn, I low-key think YouTube is better, but yeah. Thank you. Alright, this is the video I wanted to show you. This is the video I was looking for.
John 7:24. Stop judging by mere appearances, and instead judge correctly.
Hold on, I'm gonna open chat on my phone.
You know what? How about that? I'll buy a fucking ticket. Why don't you get down on your fucking knees and you pick him up? Oh, look at the manager grubbing around in the gutter. That's perfect.
What the hell is your
Have
deal,
you
mate?
seen A Clockwork
Great.
Orange?
My deal's the best in town, man. You should sign it.
This is the religious loony from the liquor store. Let's fucking go.
It's really beautiful, man. Thank you. You're so quick to judge. I thought that's what you hated in people when they did it to you. Huh?
Whoa, whoa! Hey, the fuck is this?
Escapism. You know, it's that certain part of everybody that wants to be somewhere else or somebody else. Thank you. It overrides all rational thought. What do you say, Pilgrim?
You got a problem, old man?
A problem? I don't know about a problem. I don't think so. But I do have some solutions. Hey, Johnny. Yeah. You know, it's always the drummer that are the first to go down the pokey hole. You know, Led Zeppelin, The Who. Huh? Well, what do you say? Should we go inside and have a little freaky? Sorry. Who the hell are you? Use your imagination, dude. It's not what you feel, what you see.
Yes. I have.
Stop shitting us, man. Look, pop stars, they're the ones who influence the masses. We're just a rock band.
Pop stars are so fucking boring. Anyway, I've got most of them.
Me too.
Jay-Z, Empire State of Mind. Love that lyric. Jesus can't save you. Life starts when the church ends. And then his little protege, you know, I put him on the front of Rolling Stone magazine with a crown of thorns on his head. Total fucking classic. You know, that guy's got over 20 Grammys. That's more than the Beatles, Neil Young, and Elvis put together. I mean, even I'm embarrassed by that. Ah, Cassandra, thank you, darling. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mr. Capricorn.
Mr. Capricorn?
Did you hear an echo?
Okay, like, why
The message in that movie is how society creates a world for us that normalizes those evils, and then their solutions are stamping out our fire and...
You're so loyal to me.
Oh shit.
You wear me on your sleeve. But you're
And
fat.
that movie has a lot of Freemason slash...
Hold on, let me turn this Botrick shit off.
Oh, what? Fucking mental.
Have you ever seen Iron Maiden? They filled stadiums full of their fans, singing along to songs like The Number of the Beast. Or what about Van Halen? Ever seen Iron Maiden? They filled stadiums full of their fans, singing along to songs like The Number of the Beast. Or what about Van Halen? Running with the Devil, the Stones, Sympathy for the Devil. I mean, on and on and on and on it goes. I'm not saying I'm Satan. Just saying that the devil is a catchy lyric. We perform a ritual ceremony, and then I will make you international icons.
What's the ritual?
Something very simple. Human sacrifice.
No, come on.
No fucking way.
We'll make it a revenge kill.
I'm not killing anyone.
You're right. Let's fucking go, guys.
Sit down, Johnny. Sit down. Somebody is gonna have to die.
And I just think that the whole idea of celebrity and fame has become really convoluted and, you know, kind of bastardized. Like, whereas fame used to be the byproduct of success, and now it's the ultimate goal. And if your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there. Like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil.
You're doing really well now, but didn't you release a CD like almost 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I released a gospel record when I was 15 because I grew up in, a household where all I ever did was listen to gospel music, and my parents are both traveling ministers, and so I kind of sang about, what was going on in my life at 15, and that's how I got introduced to the music industry. I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. At least it came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
I got you. First of all, George Washington was a Freemason, was a high-ranking Freemason. Freemasons exposed.
Hey everybody, welcome to Wonderful World of Internet Radio. Today we've got Ken Fish. We're talking about Freemasons.
For example, Shaquille O'Neal was a Freemason. For example, the Jimmy Kimmel Building. The Jimmy Kimmel Building, where the Jimmy Kimmel is hosted, is the Hollywood Masonic Temple. And this is a good quote to explain basically. Bro, look at this. Freemasonry builds its temples among the nations and in the hearts of men. I gotta show this.
Well, I need and the safety of my family by sharing this with you. So I hope that buys me at least Australia. You're watching.
Ah.
Society, the only Confederate general who has his own statue. And who were the Confederates? The dudes that fought for slavery, not against it. They're super. He said, "What the blame?" And the whole thing, your favorite celebrity and politician's secret religion is beyond the reach of the vulgar. Vulgar is what you are to them. He won't tell you. She won't tell you. And they won't tell you. Because the other obscene penalties from the rituals of Freemasonry include having your ear and hand chopped off, or both hands, being hung in your own home, and my personal favorite, having the top of your skull cut off so your brain is cooked in the sun. Now can you imagine what they're hiding? And then the ritual monitor goes on to illustrate the same secret handshakes and signs. Hidden hand, sign of silence. These people mocking us, sometimes to our face with their symbolism, while we respect them, admire them, and sometimes even love them.
Hold on. Bro, I need to find good videos to show.
To belong to the secret society, a prerequisite for success. To belong to the religion that gives you everything you want, everything your heart desires. While the Gospels teach accurately that the heart is wicked. Now here is a practical example of how Freemasonry comes first, even above the title of president. Here's a portrait of George Washington doing the sign of the Master of the Second Veil, and here, Freemason, before and above president. And if you think that's just by chance that they put the word Freemason above president, then read this genuine quote from Harry Truman.
That's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to think.
This should tell you how deep the consequences of Masonic initiation go, and what lies deep within. It's Freemasonry above everything else. There's the Queen showing her allegiance over and over. And here's the Queen leaving a very special hospital with a very special nurse. And this was the Queen's father, fully dressed in his Masonic regalia, and that God-forsaken apron they wear, which also hides something, just like the square and compass. In fact, what the apron hides is what the square and compass really represents.
Prince Tom. Oh, LeBron James is a Mason. LeBron James is a Mason. LeBron James and Shaq are Masons. Kyrie's a Mason.
Hands
Tom Brady's a Mason.
Harry, Prince William. And he was the Grand Master of English Freemasonry, Prince Edward, also in full gear. What a lovely looking chap. And now he's giving a Masonic grip in front of this stone that was placed there to memorialize.
Dana White's a Mason. Conor McGregor's a Mason. Pacquiao's a Mason. Alright. I don't know about Conor McGregor, but Pacquiao's a Mason. Na 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 na. The G is the seventh letter of the alphabet for number 7. 7 is a holy number, and G for the grand architect of the universe, not for God. Bro, what is this quote?
Yeah, and he's the article link.
That's just a crazy quote.
Initiate member. Do you slowly see what the Masonic mindset is? We are beneath them. And the craziest thing is, if they can turn you into what they think of you, then you deserve what's coming. It's a natural law. It's the law of nature. And I'll soon show you their real Bible, for lack of a better term, which justifies it all.
Mud.
And the one which guides their morals. And it makes a lot of sense, because the power of the deceptive phenomenon of Freemasonry lies in the fact that it contains real truth, intertwined.
I'll die on this hill.
Now this actual book that guides their morals and plans, it isn't written by hand, and it's been around longer than the Bible.
Yo, what are those emotes?
Pure, sublime as they call it, and it's the foundation on which the religion is built upon. And that Bible,
What are these emotes?
that unwritten Bible, is the key to unlocking its secrets.
Yo, this guy's trolling. This guy's trolling.
And it's all gonna come together.
Following since September 11th, jeez.
Blood. So they're gonna own it all, by their own words and actions. And they're gonna introduce
Mason.
a new system of life. But only
Alright, let me
after a number of
2 times
events
this.
take place, which I'm so close to telling you about. But first I have to tell you the name of the secret religion and the identity of the I. Now for the few of you that think of hospitals and charities and nursing homes when you hear the word Freemason, a word which I soon hope to never speak again after this video. Well, it's a front, a cover story, and like everything else in this presentation, I'm going to show you. The 4 Freemasons that are going to have the call to make an appearance in the comment section, trying to defend their beloved fraternity. This is 33rd degree Freemason Manly Hall, who was named Freemason of the Century by the Scottish Rite Journal.
Then he got assassinated too. Crazy. That guy got assassinated. Alright, got luck in.
And they parade themselves on websites and social media, calling people like me, oh, he's just an anti-Mason, anti-Mason. Blind fools at best, deceivers at worst. Well, the Freemason of the Century wrote in this book, and in this chapter,
You are.
is a fraternity within a fraternity, an outer organization, concealing an inner brotherhood of the elect. One visible and the other invisible. The visible society is a splendid camaraderie of free and accepted men and women, enjoined to devote themselves to ethical, educational, fraternal, patriotic, and humanitarian causes and concerns like hospitals and charities. But the invisible society is a secret and most august fraternity whose members are dedicated to the service of the mysterious.
Alright, it gets to the point where he starts showing him that.
Still here watching will get.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on
The all-seeing eye for enlight when you. Why is the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill? Hold on, I gotta pull up another video while I'm searching this up. And when you think back to the Clockwork Orange, it's always the one eye, where he has his one eye covered with like the sun on it. Cause it boils down to sun worship, it boils down to idol worship and stuff like that. Facts G. Facts G. John Wilkes Booth, the assassinator of Abraham Lincoln, was a Freemason. Hold on, dang, I gotta pull. Alright, browser. Bro, the Rock Nation symbol that Kanye and Jay-Z throw is literally this. This is literally the Rock Nation symbol. The chest on LeBron James tattoo. I'm trying to find good stuff on the second tab. On the second tab. Symbols in the dollar bill. Metagaming since the beginning. And it becomes this: you can't hate the player, you gotta hate the game. You gotta realize this world we're living in is of worldly sin. We're living in Satan's domain. This is like a soul trap, and like it's our test to see who can ascend. Actually, I don't know. It's more like the Nephilim, stuff like that, have possessed the shit. They took over. This was a world made in God's image. Humans are made in God's image, and the demons, they see it, and that's why. And on the $1 bill, there's so much 13s, number 13s. Hold on, let me see if this is what this is. Alright, I think. Damn, bro, I gotta keep interesting. Yeah, actually, no, I gotta keep this running. Oh, it's been. What am I saying? It's been compromised. Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons is Jewish and his name is really the demon. Richard Pryor. Oh, Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys. Check this out. 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 Why? Why is there a star right there? Bro, why are they recording this in like a Jewish temple or some shit like that? Music is a trap. That also. G create symbols in the dollar bill. Yo, what is this? Is a dumbass video, I could already tell. Oh, it's from 13 years ago.
Translated roughly, it means announcing the birth of the New World Order. You'll also take notice to the pyramid and how many layers there are of brick. There are 13 layers of brick. The detached eye means that the detached tip means that the Temple of Solomon has yet to be rebuilt. That is the significance of the tip being detached. What is confusing for me is that nobody really questions why we have a pyramid on the back of our dollar bill. I find that quite interesting. The right-hand side.
Yo, if you guys are still interested, let me know. If you guys are still interested and not bored, let me know. Or if the video gets slowed, let me know and I'll change it.
Which is indicative of 32 degrees of Freemasonry, and its left wing has 33 feathers, which is indicative of the 33rd degree. The 33rd degree is an honorary degree. Above the eagle's head, you see 13 stars in a cloud, and if you look closely, the 13 stars are in the format of a six-pointed star. The stars...
The same one we saw in that Backstreet Boys video.
Pentagrams. And again, I ask myself, why would our American currency have pentagrams and six-pointed stars? The tail feathers, there's 9 tail feathers, and that's the 9 rights within Freemasonry. And there's a ribbon in the eagle's mouth that states E pluribus unum.
Bro, what a video from 2012. Which is a good one.
Remember, I showed y'all this, the old dirty bastard, and like he died the next day, dropped dead. But what I didn't tell y'all was that he had come out with a name for himself called Big Baby Jesus. He said that he was Jesus.
Yo,
And he
this
died.
might.
See, that's how the devil does.
I know I
See, the
gotta give.
devil, and one thing you gotta understand, the devil always demands a sacrifice. Just like God says, present your bodies unto him a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is a reasonable service. That's what Jesus did on the cross. He offered himself up one for us all. So now we offer ourselves up to God as a living sacrifice. We live holy and acceptable unto him, which is what reasonable service means, what you're supposed to do anyway. You know, we live right for 3 days. We're like, Lord, I live right for 3 days. You ought to bless me. God's like, you supposed to do that. But the devil always demands a sacrifice, and if you know anything about the Antichrist and the devil, he always does the opposite of what God does. He's anti. Anti is opposite. Anti-Christ. Amen? Are y'all with me? So he demands a dead sacrifice. So anytime, if you look at satanic rituals and satanic circles and all these kinds of things, you notice that they always have to offer up a dead sacrifice. A lot of these secret societies and all of these different things, they always have to offer up dead sacrifice because the devil always demands one. So I'm telling you, these folks that do this music, whenever they begin to get glory or begin to be lifted up, they always have to be sacrificed. He always demands a sacrifice. It's Tupac Shakur, remember, height of his career. Biggie Smalls, who was coming out with a clothing line called 666.
Alright, I'm going to bed if no one's.
But he always demands a sacrifice. They always have to be offered up. That's Aaliyah, and she got into some things. Let's talk about this for a minute. See, one thing you got to realize is whenever you are serving the enemy, whenever you are glorifying the enemy or bringing attention to the enemy, he always demands a sacrifice. Now, we talked about the yard of the tongue and how you can speak things into existence and prophesy on yourself. Y'all can't read these words, but I'm going to read them to you. Biggie Small, this is a song he put out right before he died. He said, as I grab the Glock, put it to your headpiece, one in the chamber, the safety's off release, straight to your dome homes, I want to see cabbage. Biggie Smalls the savage, doing your brain cells much damage. I'm ready to die, and nobody can save me. Blank the world, blank my moms and my girl. My life is played out like a Jerry curl. I'm ready to die. Tupac, right before he died, came out with this song. I see death around the corner. The pressure's getting to me. I no longer trust my homies. Them phonies tried to do me. Smoking too much weed got me paranoid, stressed. Pack a gat in my vest under my clothes when I dress. Here's hoping I die the way I live, straight thugging. Hugging my trigger for all them niggas that was bugging. And even if I die young, who cares? All I got was mean mugs and cold stares. I can't give up, although I'm hopeless. I think my mind's gone. All I can do is get my grind on. Death is around the corner. See these brothers right before they died. That's how serious this thing is. And one thing, I know a lot of, Christians like horror movies, and they like to watch demons and junk on TV and horror movies, but they don't understand there is an element to the horror movies of America that nobody wants to talk about, and that is every time a movie that depicts horror in this nation celebrates, every time a movie like that is made, somebody directly starring in it or directly related to a star in it has to die. Research it. Every time. But we want to be entertained watching demons and monsters and this kind of stuff, and we don't understand that somebody had to die because the enemy was glorified. There was a sacrificial ceremony involved. This is Aaliyah. Sad situation. Beautiful young girl. But they got her to play this part in this movie called Queen of the Damned. She played Akasha, who was supposed to be the head of all vampires. When she was working on this movie, she began to realize that she was just like Akasha. She says, I play Akasha, who is the queen and the first original vampire. She said, that's me. It's a good part. I've been working with my coach. I work with him all the time, and I've been working extra hard to prepare for this and get comfortable with what she's all about so I can do it the right way. Then she says, I'm a night person, so I guess you could say I kind of have the part in me anyway. I'm a bit of a vampire for real. I like the dark, I like the night, so I really don't have to take it to the extreme of sleeping in coffins. Sad. Sad. And then her plane went down, and they found her in, shrubberies. I think it went down in a swamp. She was covered in brush and snakes and whatever's in a swamp. And she had just shot, prior to that, a video where she was depicting herself in that same situation. But it's just music, it's just music, isn't it? Isn't it just music? Brother Craig? That's what they want to say, isn't it? I mean, isn't it just music? Here are some of the coveted awards that our people want so bad for the music that we do. This is, the American Music Award, which is a pyramid. What is a pyramid? A pyramid is a
when ill health or anxiety or one of the many ways that we suffer threatens to overcome us, people often wonder why God has permitted this to happen. People may even question whether God has abandoned them. Or perhaps, what have I done to deserve this? Why is God allowing this to happen to me? But this state of mind is entirely contradictory to authentic Christian understanding, Christian spirituality. We modern people struggle to even understand how alienated we really are from a true Christian understanding of our lives, because we have allowed a worldly mindset to enter us. So as Christians, we must ask ourselves, how should we understand our temptations, our trials, our struggles? And of course we begin by asking, how have the saints responded? How have the saints understood these trials, these temptations? How have they responded to suffering? What is the true Christian understanding of these difficult times in our lives? Well, first, of course, we may say the most basic reality is that we are only able to approach God when we first pass through trials. We must pass through these trials, these temptations, if we hope to approach God. As the psalmist said in Psalm 65, we must first pass through fire and water. God examines and tests our hearts. This isn't, of course, because God lacks any knowledge of our hearts. In fact, quite the opposite. Only God knows the true disposition of the depths of our soul, the good and evil that truly sits within each of us. Only God sees the full depths, the true depths of us. Those true depths that we work so hard to hide from other people, and indeed, sometimes knowingly, sometimes without even being aware, we hide from ourselves. We hide the true depths of the good and evil within us from ourselves, because it is so painful to face. And the saints teach us that it takes bitter medicine for the truth of our inner condition to be revealed. For this hidden reality of our soul to be exposed requires bitter medicine. So that, of course, God then may restore us to health. It requires an exposure, the light of God, to enter the darkness within us, the concealment within us. Just as Christ entered the home of Zacchaeus, so too Christ's light must enter us and expose us that we may be healed, that we may be restored to health. And of course, without this healing, none of us can enter the kingdom of God. God allows trials and temptations to befall us out of nothing but love for us. It is God's love that permits these trials to befall us. His desire for us to return to Him. And only God knows the nature of the particular trials each of us needs to be restored to health. We don't know, and we certainly don't know each other's. Only God truly knows the medicine required for each of our hearts.
Welcome back, higher fibers. And welcome to anyone who may be listening for the first time. And no matter who you are, my wife and I are grateful you're here. Because my wife and I are believers in your having the opportunity to be able to live your best life. up feeling inspired. As you tap into your ability to be guided by the divine love and light of your benevolent spirit guides. And it's here in moments like this when you're just simply allowing this to play. And just by your feeling comfortable in your bed, and all you do is listen and relax, you gain empowering understanding in a way that your subconscious mind begins to embrace. And you simply go on and discover the benefits happening within your everyday life. And as you allow yourself, for you're becoming in tune with your spirit guides, you can begin to wonderfully experience all of that happening right now by simply closing your eyes.
Light.
And as your eyes are closed, and you're focusing on this moment, and just beginning to relax, you can place both of your hands Welcome back, higher vibers. And welcome to anyone who may be listening for the first time. And no matter who you are, my wife and I are grateful you're here. Because my wife and I are believers in your having the opportunity to be able to live your best life. And we're committed to creating and sharing content that allows you to experience your best self. And you wake up feeling joy. And you wake up feeling inspired as you tap into your ability to be guided by the divine love and light of your benevolent spirit guides. And it's here in moments like this when you're just simply allowing this to play. And just by your feeling comfortable in your bed, and all you do is listen and relax, you gain empowering understanding in a way that your subconscious mind begins to embrace. And you simply go on and discover the benefits happening within your everyday life. And as you're allowing yourself, or you're becoming in tune with your spirit guides, you can begin to wonderfully experience all of that happening right now by simply closing your eyes. And as your eyes are closed, and you're focusing on this moment, and just beginning to relax, you can place both of your hands restfully on your chest. And focus on your hands right there, the way they're resting on your chest. As you take several slow and steady, deep cleansing breaths in and out. And you're feeling your hands rising up with your chest and slowly moving down with your chest. And your hands are positioned so close to your heart. And you can just go on breathing comfortably and naturally. And you can be aware of your heartbeat quietly pulsing within your hands, easily and steadily, as you're feeling this oneness with your body. And with you experiencing this connection right to your heart, you can almost imagine yourself allow an awareness of love and peaceful energy travel through your hands